from a low life, but now people call me the king. Tearing it up with every lyric that I bring to the table. Because I'm willing and able, I'm in more homes than Comcast cable. I got the skill that'll rattle your brain. I'm a threat like Saddam Hussein, everybody know my name. Joe Habib's a top soldier, kid, they should have told you, you really need to pack a lunch. My words hit hard just like a Tyson punch, so give me a chance, I bet you I can make you dance. Show me your girl, I bet you I get in her pants. I'm breaking egos and money is what I'm stacking. Joe Habib on the mic, you know I'm down for action. Shout out to Make Beats Sir and the Beat Smith and the whole Rope-A-Dope radio crew. Yeah. All right, good morning, everybody. We are now here the day after the big Jermell Charlo Canelo Alvarez fight. Everyone saw it. Very one-sided affair. Canelo Alvarez pitched a virtual shutout last night. And I have to say, everyone that's followed this channel over the years, they know that I'm the last person that's ever going to describe a fighter in a negative way, like say disparaging things about a fighter, like, because we hear fans out there really go in hard on fighters, call them names, insult them. And I don't think there's anyone on here that has more respect for fighters than myself. And obviously it takes a lot of courage to do what they do, to go into that ring and put themselves in harm's way, knowing that there's a great possibility that they could end up not exiting that ring the same way they went in, right? But with that being said, this isn't about what I said. This is about what Jermell Charlo said himself. And I didn't have to say anything. The boxing fans didn't have to say anything. Jermell Charlo pretty much said enough himself. And you guys can take away from it what you will. And I certainly am going to take away from it what I believe, how this should be interpreted, at least in my opinion. And I think it's pretty much going to be the general consensus out there, right? Leading up to this fight, during the press conferences, during the promotion for this fight, we saw a very subdued Charlo. And I'm going to say it. I mean, he just did not seem like his fiery self. He was going out of his way to show extra respect for Canelo, while previously, before this fight was signed, you know, he would call Canelo names. He would kind of demean him. And even Canelo himself said, you know, you didn't respect my skills, right? So he was really dismissive and somewhat disrespectful of Canelo, right, before this fight was signed. But once this fight was signed and he was in the same room as Canelo and he was face-to-face with Canelo, the energy definitely changed, right? The energy definitely changed. And I said to myself, okay, yeah, I'm going to be honest, like he just doesn't seem like the same guy, doesn't seem like he has that fire in his belly like he has for other fights. He just does not seem like he's, I don't know, like I got the impression, he gave me the vibe that he was just happy to be there. It's like I hit the lottery and I'm happy right now, right? I don't have to be angry anymore because I made it. I finally hit the lottery, and the money that I'm going to make in this fight, I'm probably going to be able to retire off of, and I don't even really have to fight another day in my life. This is life-changing money that I'm getting right here. So basically, there's no need for him to be angry. There's no need for him to be fired up. At least if his mentality was, I've made it. I've finally gotten that big payday that I've always wanted and I've always felt that I deserved. So once you reach that top and there's nowhere else to go, what else is there to fight for? What else is there to be angry about? Right? Because you're getting everything that you wanted. Where's the motivation? Right? And you may ask yourself, and I asked myself this, and I was questioning it beforehand, but I still wanted to give Jermell the benefit of the doubt. Because maybe, you know, once he's in that ring, once that bell rings, once that adrenaline kicks in, maybe we will see that fiery Charlo, that aggressive Charlo, right? That mean, tough, rough individual that we're used to seeing, right? But that just wasn't the case. But then after the fight, during the interview, and during the press conference, post-fight press conference, he uttered the words, he didn't knock me out. He knocked everybody else out. And I said to myself, wow, did he really just say that? Did he really just say that? Right? Did he really just say that? So to me, uttering those words, not once, but twice, he said it to Jim Gray, and he also said it at the post fight press conference. And then reporters were asking Canelo, he seemed just happy to go the distance in there. Did you get the sense that he came to win? And no one knows for sure what's in Charlo's mind, but in my opinion, he pretty much told on himself right there by saying he didn't knock me out, he knocked everybody else out. You can say, Beeb, you're taking it out of context, but to me, he just told the world and he revealed his game plan that his intention wasn't to win this fight, but it was just to go the distance, right? And again, I understand. Sometimes a fighter will go in there and have the game plan, right? But then get hit a few times, get hurt a few times. And then automatically what happens is just automatically, instinctively, they just go into survival mode. I think it's the human instinct is to go into survival mode sometimes when you feel as though you're threatened. But fighters are supposed to be built a different way. We all have that adrenaline rush where that fight or flight scenario is presented to us. But fighters, especially at this level, more often than not, when they're pushed to the limit, right, and those alarm bells go off, right, and there's a choice to make, fight or flight, fighters at this level usually fight. And in this instance, we can question whether or not that Jermell Charlo was his true intention to go in there and try to win this fight, was his true intention to try to go in there and fight, because we've seen him be very aggressive. We've seen him fall behind in fights, but what he would do is he would dig down deep, muster up that aggression and power, and get to the guy later in the fight. So at no point in time did we see that old Charlo, right? That aggressive Charlo, right? Subconsciously, I think his survival instincts just kicked in, and he couldn't summon up a lion, right? He couldn't summon up that lion like he has in other fights, right? So I'm not going to sit here and insult Jermell Charlo. I'm not going to question his heart. I'm not going to call him any names, but I will say Jermell Charlo told me, and he told everyone else out there, that my plan was to just go the distance, right? So all the evidence that I saw prior to this fight, that I tried to put off to the side and say to myself, let me see that first bell ring, and let me see if once that adrenaline kicks in, that the true fighter instincts that Jermell Charlo has inside, right? Let me see if those kick in, but they never did. So to me, it just showed that his intention was to just go the distance, right? Was to just try to survive. And I didn't see a lot of purposeful punches. I didn't see a lot of power punches being thrown. I saw mostly very, very cautious jabs being thrown, sort of like get off me type punches, right? And I just did not see someone who had a game plan like they were going to win, because he fought the whole fight the same way from round 1 through 12. There was no change. There was no adjustment. And I'll be honest, Canelo wasn't really fighting at a fast pace, right? But this was one of the rare occasions where Canelo's opponent actually threw less punches than him, particularly power punches. So I just have to ask the question, based off of this performance, is anyone out there going to fork up their $85 and pay to see Jermell Charlo fight again? Because once you make that money, once any of us hits the lottery, our mindset changes. We're not going to want to work anymore. We're going to want to just live off the lottery, right? So now that he's hit the lottery, will that fire ever come back? Is this going to be the Charlo we see moving forward? Even Terence Crawford said, I don't even want to fight this guy now. Because how do you market this guy now after what we just saw? And then what he said after the fight, basically confirming that my strategy was to just go 12 rounds. What do you do with this moving forward? Little Penny, you're a smart man. Some will say you're even smarter than the great Beeb. Explain to me, what do you make of all this?
Beebs, I think you're right. I think the cat is out of the bag. The fact that he showed his weakness here, Bud Crawford's probably saying, I can now beat this guy. Like, whereas before, it's like, man, Jermell Charlo, man, he can punch a little bit, he can take a punch. But now that the cat is out of the bag, kind of like what Ryan Garcia showed to Tank Davis, the cat is out of the bag. So when they now look at Ryan Garcia or Jermell Charlo face to face, eye to eye, they're not going to see that line anymore. That line's gone now. It's now more like, oh, he's just a normal human being. I can beat this guy. You know what I mean, Bibbs?
I agree. Now, does this fight with Terence Crawford? Do you even? I don't even want to see it now.
I want to see it. I'm
I don't even want to see it now.
You want to see it? I do.
No.
I'm intrigued. You wouldn't want to see Bud become undisputed at 154?
You know what I want to see? I'll tell you exactly what I want to see. And this is horrible to say. I want to see Charlo go back down. Like I want to see him go to 160, and I want to see him just relinquish all the 154-pound belts.
It kind of already is. There's Tim Tszyu, Brian Castano is for the WBO belt, I think. From my
I want to see Brian Mendoza get elevated to full WBC champion, right? I want that interim status to go away, right? I want to see him get elevated to full WBC junior middleweight champion, right? And I just want to see the true young, hungry lions fight now. How do you sell a Bud Crawford Jermell Charlo fight now after that?
Hey,
How do you
Beebs,
sell that?
Beebs, in the post-fight press conference, right? Jermell Charlo said that he rehydrated to 175, and a reporter asked
172.
170 or
172.
172. Yeah, and a reporter asked him, "What do you think would have helped for you to win against Canelo?" And he said, "I would have liked to weigh in another 5 pounds extra." I said, "Dude, you're already freaking slow. How are you gonna be even slower at 170, 177?"
Listen, he would have been better off to walk into that ring at 160 pounds,
I agree.
weigh in at 160 pounds, walk into that ring at 165 pounds, and just this whole thing of just eating and putting on weight just for the sake of getting on the scale and targeting a number is ridiculous. Well, Manny Pacquiao fought Antonio Margarito. What did he weigh for the junior middleweight
145.
title? He weighed
145.
144 pounds.
Yeah. Okay.
He was even under welterweight. Just weigh in at the weight you're supposed to weigh in. Right?
But Beebs, to be fair, Jermell Charlo did look fast out there. His feet, like he was running around, like he ran. All he had to do was throw the jab because he had a 3-inch advantage. Just like what Barrios did, throw it out there. Now, look, you're gonna get countered one of those, right? But the distance that he was at, Canelo will probably he's not gonna connect fully flush because the distance is quite far because you got a 3-inch advantage, right? But he didn't even do that. He was just content of just like running away and like
he was
doing like a
he was fighting very apprehensively. He was fighting like someone who wasn't confident.
Yeah.
He was fighting with someone who was concerned about what was going to come back at him. Right? He was defeated before he entered the ring. He questioned his ability to take the shot from a Canelo Alvarez. He was concerned, right? That's what. Now, David Benavidez, on the other hand, would probably enter that ring on fight night pretty damn near close, if not more, than 190 pounds plus.
Oh, he'll fight Canelo.
And with that 190 pounds plus, we've already seen come fight night, David Benavidez is still quick, still explosive. Now, the big question is, will he be able to keep up that work rate against a counterpuncher like Canelo Alvarez? That's the big question. I think he will, but a lot of people disagree. More people probably agree with you. But
we'll see against Andrade. Beebs, we'll see on November 24th against Andrade.
Now we saw David Benavidez get off to a slow start against Caleb Plant, but once he switched gears and kicked it in after round 5. He blanketed that guy with pressure.
Yeah, but Plant was a bit damaged goods though, Beebs, because Canelo damaged him. Like, if Plant was undefeated, that fight may look a little bit different.
I mean, his very next fight knocked out Anthony Durrell, who's a solid guy. He knocked him out with one shot.
Durrell is washed up though, dude. Like, geez, Durrell should have retired 5 years ago.
And I had that Canelo Plant fight after 10 rounds. I had it 5-5. Some guys had it 6-4 Canelo. Plant was in that fight. And he won the round before he got knocked out on my card.
It was BJ Saunders. He was in that fight too until he got knocked out.
So you can't fight Crawford now because after what I saw here, as much as I love Crawford, I just don't think Crawford can hurt Canelo. And if you can't hurt Canelo, you're not going to beat this guy. Or you can now the argument's going to be, well, Bivol didn't hurt him, but he beat him. Yeah, but Bivol hit him hard enough where he froze him in his tracks in points in that fight. Bivol hit him hard enough. Hit him hard enough where he stopped him from coming forward.
Because it's a 175 fighter. Like, when you get hit by that and you're really 160 pounds, that's going to affect you, man. Like, regardless if you can hit or not. because Canelo doesn't really belong at 175, right? And people say he probably doesn't
No.
belong 168 either. Canelo can probably make 160 if you want. If Mayweather came back and say, "Hey, Canelo, I'll fight you 160," I'll bet you he'll make the weight just for Floyd. He can still make
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So
But we
what about
need
Beats? What about Bud Crawford versus Canelo? Do you like that?
no. After what I just saw in this fight, there are weight classes for a reason.
Yeah, that's true.
Those guys will not be able to hurt. As much as I love Bud Crawford, I saw Canelo just walk through Jermell Charlo.
Yeah,
Just
but Jermell
walk through
wasn't
him.
throwing though, Beebs.
Listen, I just don't think Crawford will be able to is big enough to
Beebs. I don't know if you saw
Canelo.
Chicano's live stream a couple of hours ago. Brian, TBH, he's saying that Bud hits harder than Jermell. Do you believe that?
Maybe, maybe.
Well, if that's the
I don't
case,
know. I
then
don't know. I mean, Bud does have 9 straight knockouts at welterweight.
that's pretty
But
good.
again, but again, the heaviest I think Bud could ever get up to, right, is probably Bud will probably weigh 168 pounds on fight night. He walks around at about 165 pounds, Bud Crawford, right? I just don't think he's going to be able to hurt Canelo Alvarez. And if you can't hurt Canelo Alvarez and stop him from coming forward, you're not going to win that fight. You're just not going to win that fight.
Yeah, I think Canelo will win too.
Canelo's too big.
Yeah.
I looked at this fight last night and I was saying to myself, if Jermell could at least buzz Canelo a couple times in the fight or get his attention, then I would say, okay, maybe Crawford would have a chance. But yeah, I just don't think Crawford could win this fight now because I don't think he can hurt Canelo.
But
Just
Bibbs,
don't.
it has been done before, moving up 3 weight classes. Pacquiao went up from 112 to 122 and won against Leboaba.
Not at one time. I keep telling you, he didn't do it at one time. It was incremental.
Henry Armstrong went up from 126 up all the way up to 147 and won. Right? Skipped 135.
Incremental moves. They don't go. No one put on 14 pounds in one fight.
Now, Beebs, but Beebs, Pacquiao didn't fight at 115 or 118. He went straight to 112 straight away, from 112 to 122 because you couldn't make weight anymore because he was eating good food.
I'll show you what Pacquiao did. I'll open up the box rec and I'll explain to you what Pacquiao did. And again, even though he won the title at 112 and 122, he still had interim fights in between. So it wasn't like he just jumped from 112 to 122. So we're going to look at his career, right? He turned pro in 1995 at 106 pounds, right?
Jesus Christ, yeah.
And then, yeah, so he fought at 106 pounds for a little while.
That's incredible, man.
Then he started weighing in at 114. Then he weighed in at 112, right? Then he started weighing in at 114, right? 116, right? 114, 113. So it's not like he went from 112. See, 114, 115. He fought at 115, right? Weighed in at 115 a couple times, right? And I'm gonna go to the fight before he actually moved up to 114. We're gonna go to the fight, right? So before he fought Ledwaba for the title, right? 122, 122, 121, 121. So 2000 he was 119 and a half, right? So he gradually worked his way up to 122. It's not like he went from 112 right to 122 in one fight. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There was a couple fights where he weighed 116, 118, you know what I mean? And then he had to vacate that flyweight title. And the next fight after he vacated the flyweight title, he weighed in at 116 pounds. So it's not like he made that jump in one. When you're talking about making the jump in one fight from 154 to 168, which is 14 pounds, Pacquiao did do it gradually. Now, obviously, it's still impressive what Pacquiao did. We're not taking that away from him. But it's not like he went from 112 and then just went to 122.
What about Henry Armstrong? What, from 126 to welterweight? Wasn't that a one jump? Like, didn't he do that straight away? I could be wrong here, by the way.
Well, let's see what Henry Armstrong did, because I'm trying to remember that.
Because then when he won the welterweight, he went down. Then he went down.
He actually fought for the middleweight title also.
Yeah, he lost to Filipino Seferino Garcia.
Yeah, I think it was a draw. They had it as a draw. He didn't lose the fight; it was a draw. But let me see when he won his first title.
And that welterweight title, that was against a pretty good guy. I can't remember his name, but it wasn't like a nobody.
Yeah. And then he lost to Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson gave him like a payday.
Yeah, that was Sugar Ray Robinson. That was a young Ray Robinson there.
I want to see the actual first world title that he won.
It would have been at featherweight.
Yeah, it was at featherweight, but I want to see what year he actually won it. I don't know if that was his first world title that he won at featherweight. He may have went back. He may have went down to featherweight after winning another title. I'm trying to see. Yeah, when was the first world title that he won? I'm trying to see.
I'm gonna check it too, Beebs.
It's interesting that you say that. Okay, there was 1935. He won the Western featherweight title. I don't know what the hell that is.
What's that now?
That was 1935. So 1936, yeah. So I don't know if that was because 1936 he won the California State Athletic Commission featherweight title.
Yeah, the different belts back then.
Yeah. Then he won the California Mexican World Featherweight title in 1936. Yeah, because the titles were different back then. They were kind of like, this was before. Yeah, so he did win the featherweight title first. Let me see what the next title he won after featherweight.
Oh, he won against Barney Ross for the welterweight title. Man, Barney Ross, he was pretty good.
Yeah, Barney Ross was a good fighter.
Oh, even the Beebs, the Ring magazine welterweight belt was on the line in 1938.
So he stayed at featherweight for a while. He was bouncing back and forth from featherweight to lightweight. Weighed 131 pounds. A couple times.
Beebs, he did it gradually, Beebs, because here he won against Pete Saron for the featherweight title, and then he fought. You may be right, Beebs. I think he may have.
Yeah, he did it in order, bro. He did it in order. He didn't go from 126. Yeah. Even if he did go from 126 to 147, that's still not going from 154 to 168. Yeah.
Because he had 14 fights before he fought Barney Ross for the welterweight title. I don't know what weight classes these are there.
Barney Ross was also a lightweight.
It doesn't say the weight class, but yeah, he had 14. Yeah, so he didn't do it one fight. Maybe, man, this could even Beebs. Now that we know that fact, this could motivate Bud to make history. He'll be the first guy to do it, like to jump 3 weight classes at one time.
I don't think Canelo's gonna. You can't sell that fight now because we just saw a guy try to do it and we saw a guy go from 150, try to go from 154 and move up 2 weight classes. We can't see it like
You
people
can
aren't
want
gonna
sell beeps pay-per-view.
people aren't gonna buy it, bro.
I'd buy it. I'd just be intrigued on what
What
Bud
what
can
would
do.
what would you rather see? What would you rather see? That or the Benavidez fight?
I want to see the Crawford fight, Beebs, because I want to
Yeah,
see history.
not
I
me.
want to, because I want to see if he can jump up 3
See,
weight classes.
see, you have this romanticized view of the world where you care about all these belts, you care about these records and this.
Yeah, of
Like
course.
I care about the matchup.
Beebs, you know
What do
what
you
this is?
think? What do you think is a better fight to watch? Crawford versus Canelo or Benavidez versus Canelo?
Oh, you mean
And you
more
have a
competitive? The Benavidez is more competitive, but Beebs,
so you're gonna put this romanticized view that you have, like this nostalgia thing that you have. You're gonna just care about. Let me ask you this: Fury fights Usyk, right? Do you care if there's any belt on the line if they fight, or do you just care about the fight itself?
no,
What
I
do you
just care
care more
because
about?
no, I just care about the fight because they're the two best. I just want to see who's the
Okay,
best.
so why not? Why would you not want to see David Benavidez, who's been the number 2 guy in this division for at least 18 months to 2 years? Well, at least for a year, David Benavidez has been the consensus number 2 guy, right? Right? Why would you not want to see the number 1 versus the number 2?
Because Beebs, Canelo is already undisputed at 160. If he beats Benavidez, it
Who's
does really.
undisputed? Who's undisputed at 160?
Oh, sorry, 168. 168. Sorry,
Yeah,
undisputed 168. So if he beats Benavidez, I don't think it's gonna improve his legacy.
of course, it's going to improve his legacy because you know
He's
why?
already undisputed at 168. Like,
It's going to improve his legacy because you know why? Number one, it's a fight that the people have been calling for about a year and a half now,
and also
right?
Beebs,
Let me
Benavidez,
finish. Let me
he's still
finish. Let me
young.
finish.
He's not
Let
in
me
his
finish.
prime.
He's not in his Penny. You're killing me today.
He's not in his prime. Like
He's
his prime is probably
he's
2 or 3
20.
years from now.
He's 26 years old, Penny.
Dude, yeah, that's young, dude.
What
In
are you
boxing terms,
talking about? He's not in his
28,
prime.
29.
What? He's 26 years
That's
old.
not prime, dude. 26. Prime is in boxing. Prime is 28, 29.
Oh my
30.
God. He's the mandatory name another super middleweight besides Canelo Alvarez, if you think Canelo Alvarez is the best. Name another super middleweight right now that is better than David Benavidez.
No, probably none. Probably he's
So you're killing your own argument here.
but
He
see,
he
even Iceman says 28 is prime. But because what I'm saying is, I want to see a historic, like it's a David and Goliath type. It's like a Pacquiao De La Hoya type fight. Like because the reason why I want you're saying I'm dramatizing because the reason why you got to understand where I'm coming from. I thought that Mayweather was going to be better than Sugar Ray Robinson, right? Because he had the skill, he was quick, he's fast, he's got the chin, he was moving up in weight classes. But to be honest, Beeps, he robbed me of, because I want to live in an era where I can say to people, I saw the greatest fighter to have ever lived. Because I didn't live in the 40s and 50s when Ray Robinson was around. But Mayweather had a pathway to become the greatest ever. He had the opponents, he had the weight classes, he had the fans. But because he didn't do that, I'm now wanting, okay, but you do it. You or Canelo, like when he wanted to fight Macabre, great. Oh, wow, like, because I want to see history. You know what I'm saying? You know where I'm coming from?
Yeah. Yeah. Base made a good point. He said the jump from 175 to 200 is a big jump, which he's correct. It's like 25 pounds. He's
That's
right. It's a huge jump.
Yeah.
He's right. And guys went from 175 to cruiserweight. Like Michael Moore did it You know, he went from 175 to well, no, he went from 175 right to heavyweight.
Spinks did it.
Yeah, Spinks did it too. But my argument to that though, Base, is it's easier for a bigger guy to do it. Who's 6 feet or above. If a guy is 6 feet or above, he can carry 200 pounds. Like I'm about 6 feet 1/2 inch. I'm like 210 right now. Not happy about it, but I'd like to be about 200. But Base is right. It's a big jump, like the light heavyweight to the cruiserweight, and some guys go from light heavyweight right to heavyweight. Base is correct, but for me, I just think it's harder for the smaller guy to do it. That's why you have those. That's why you have more weight classes in between at the lower weights than you do at the bigger weights.
Correct.
So usually the guys are at 175. They're about 6'2", 6'3". I think they can carry the 200 pounds. Let's let Papa Chubby go in. What's up, buddy?
Hey guys, sorry. Good morning. I'm just kind of joining the live, so I'm just listening to you guys, seeing where you're at with the conversation. I mean, last night I kind of feel like Barrios and Ugas gave us the fight we wanted for the main event.
Yeah. I was way off on that. I was way off on that too.
Same, Beeb, same.
You know what, Beeb? I said Barrios by KO. I thought Barrios might have been able to might have been pushed to that kind of level, to something we haven't seen yet. I felt like he really needed, obviously, to beat Ugas, even though to me, Ugas is at the end. He's in his twilight years, and I think we saw that last night. Even though he did have some great moments, and I mean, what a warrior, to fight to the end the way he was looking. He was looking rough, man, like really rough. But Barrios was great. I thought he was inspiring at points, man. He looked really sharp. I just loved how he was using his lead hand and the jab. Like, let's be honest, guys aren't using the jab anymore. I love seeing a guy that really builds off the jab, and he pushed the action. I liked what he was doing, man. I really liked what he was doing. He started out a lot on his back foot, and he was fighting well on his back foot. I thought he looked good. I thought it was probably one of the best fights I've seen him fight. I haven't seen him.
That fight reminded me of Miguel Cotto when he was using his jab against Mosley, all the time.
There you go. Yeah, I just listen. You see it right down to the amateur guys. It's like a state of the sport right now. You don't see guys using the jab like they did at one time. I don't know. It's just the coaches, the thoughts of coaches.
They're inactive. They only fight once a year. That's why.
Yeah, maybe it's that. But yeah, guys, I mean, the main event, what can you say? I thought to give Charlo some credit, I thought obviously he used the ring well. He moved around well. He did that really well. And I thought even though he did get caught on the ropes a few times, I thought he managed to stay off the ropes considering how much he was moving around. He and a couple times he got off the ropes nicely. And I thought he was able to smother Canelo's action in close. He did well to stop the inside action from Canelo. But when he was in the pocket with Canelo, he was just very reactive. To me, he wasn't letting his hands go enough, and he wasn't building off the things that he was doing well. I thought when he did something really well, maybe get a combination off, he kind of would just stop. He wouldn't push beyond that. So yeah, I mean, for all the talk and all the he's going in there to do it for the culture and all that crap, it was pretty uninspiring, right? Kind of disappointing, I guess. But yeah. And then at the end to say what he did as far as surviving and how he didn't get knocked out, and I mean, just save it, right? Come on.
He lost a lot of fans today, Charlo, and he lost himself. A lot of the fighters now won't be as not scared, but because beforehand people will think, oh man, this Charlo guy, man, he can crack. If he touches me, I might not be able to get up. But now that they've seen this, that the cat is out of the bag, Like Tim Tszyu will probably thinking, man, I've got a really good chance against Jermell Charlo now. I definitely want to fight him if I beat Mendoza in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, I mean, I think that one thing he did well too was like he kind of hid. You know, some fighters can kind of hide, like they're getting hit, they're getting hurt, and they hide it kind of well. I mean, he kind of hit it pretty well until he took the knee. I thought, you know, he was getting hit, he was kind of moving around, but you could tell he was getting stunned, but he kind of hit it pretty good. And then after that knockdown, it kind of became pretty apparent what was going on. Like the power of Canelo was real. I mean, the optics on the TV might not look, you know, like when Canelo lands, it doesn't look like much, but you know, it's much.
Yeah.
You know,
Now,
like
Papa Chubby, I like the way Canelo executed that knockdown. Where if you watch the because that was in the 7th round, so the first 6 rounds, Canelo, when he was hitting to his head, he was doing it like to the side, right? So Charlo would we started protecting his ears more, and then when Canelo threw that overhand right, instead of going to the side, he went to the middle, and he didn't see it.
Yeah.
Because he was protecting his ears too much, so he did it. He thought that he was going to go do it again to the ear or to your side. But Canelo changed it midway through, and he did it to the middle. That's why he connected.
You know, it's funny. Last week, like fight week, I felt like with the podcast, like the shows I was listening to, most of the input from fans was actually pretty measured. It wasn't bad, you know, like. I was listening to guys describe how they thought Charlo could win or how Canelo could win. But then by Friday, the wheels kind of fell off that bus, and people were calling in talking more crazy, right? And I heard a lot of guys saying how Canelo is basic. He has he doesn't have ring IQ. He doesn't do anything in there. And it's like, yeah, how basic was he last night, right? Like he's got great ring IQ, great instincts in there, and a lot of it comes from experience, man. He's been there with everybody, you know, over 60 fights now. You're learning every fight. I mean, that amount of experience is immense in boxing. Immense.
Papa Chubby, I know what you're saying. I did, because you know when Showtime put on the aerial view and how he cut off the ring against Charlo, he looked good, but the thing is, when the other guy is not punching back, you look better. But when he went up against Ryder, especially on the second half of the fight where Ryder was punching back, he didn't look good then.
No.
Like even with the Triple G trilogy, he wasn't cutting off the ring well there. Like, you know what I mean?
True. Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, in that way, Charlo was the right opponent for that, you know. Beebs, and you too, Penny, I guess, or anyone in the chat. I can't see the chat right now, but I'd like to know what you guys think about, like what is next? Like now Tszyu is fighting Mendoza. So after that fight happens, what do you guys think? Like, what's next for Charlo, for Mel, assuming that he doesn't fight Crawford? Like if he returns to 54, do you think that Tszyu fight's going to happen?
Here's the problem. He's 6 feet. He's been at 154 for like his whole career, like 16 years. He at least needs to move up to 160, in my opinion. If he goes back down to 154, I don't think he's going to be as good. He was already starting to slip a little bit. I thought he lost to Harrison. I thought he lost to Castaño the first time. He was losing to Harrison the second time before he knocked out Harrison. I don't think he beat Tszyu. I think Crawford beats him. I think Crawford knocks him out. I think Crawford could knock him out. Because the thing about Crawford is, no disrespect to Canelo, but I think if Mel goes back down to 154, I don't think he'll be as durable. I think he'll lose some of his durability, and I think his conditioning. I think it'll tax him a little bit to have to go back down to 154, in my opinion. So he'll be less durable because of that. It's like Spence. I think, and people don't want to hear it, but he should have never been fighting at 147. Like this dude was walking around at like 180 back when he fought Kell Brook, right? He said they asked him before that fight, you know, are you concerned? Kell Brook fought as high as 160. He's like the bigger guy here. He goes, hey man, I'm not a small welterweight myself. I'm walking around at about close to 180 myself. If he's walking around at 180 back then, he was coming down from 190 to have to make 147. That's not, I mean, that you're not going to tell me that's not going to deplete you and affect your durability going into a fight. That's going to damage you. So I think that Terrence Crawford would get, you know, a weakened version of Jermell Charlo. And also you have to say to yourself, I think Charlo cashed himself out last night.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that fire really ever going to come back now?
Nah, I don't think it will.
Yeah, so I think I don't want to. I'm going to say something extremely controversial. This is harsh. I don't care if I ever see Charlo fight again, with all due respect. I know the guy has to make a living. I know the guy has to make a living and everything, but you basically told on yourself last night. You were there for a check. I'm sorry. You admitted it. That's not me saying it. He didn't knock me out. He knocked everyone else out. He cashed himself out last night.
So, Beach, you reckon he won't beat Triple G at 160? Jermell Charlo?
No.
Jermell Charlo versus Triple G
No.
at 160?
No.
Triple G's washed up there.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Is he really washed up?
I think so.
Can he still?
Do you think Triple G is washed up?
Has he slipped? Has he slipped bad enough that he can't beat guys like Chris Eubank Jr.?
Oh yeah, he'll beat Eubank Jr. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's definitely a question, you know, and that's worth the fight. You know, like I think, you know, does G have it left? You know, I mean, I think most people could see Triple G getting in the ring with a lot of different guys out there, you know, and getting to the final bell. I wouldn't say washed up, Penny, but is he, like, he's definitely in his twilight years. And I mean, how much longer can he go? He's been inactive a while now. I mean, I just assume he's done, you know, but we haven't, there seems to be a lot of uncertainty about whether he's done or not. I've heard it from both sides. So I don't know about G, but I'm just seeing 160 as sort of a wasteland the last couple of years, man. I mean, Maul being inactive for so long and being able to hold that belt. And it just seems
no mandatories for like 5 years.
Why is Golovkin? What is Jermell Charlo at this stage of Golovkin's career do for him? Why would he even want to fight him? And Easy Box, I mean, I know you want to run interference for your guy, but you're not going to tell me how to spend my money.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him again.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any. I think Tim Tszyu beats him. I think Terrence Crawford beats him. So unless he's going to fight, stay busy fights against lower level guys, what else is there for him? To me, he cashed himself out last night.
But Beast, I don't think he'll be timid against those guys.
Okay, but guess what? Will he be motivated? What else is there now? Penny, you hit the lottery tomorrow, right?
I'm quitting.
You're quitting your job, right?
Yep.
He hit the lottery.
Yeah,
he's basically going to go into work the next day and say, take this job and shove it. When you hit the I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Now, Canelo and Crawford, they're outliers to me. Now, do they fight for money? Of course they do. But these guys have certain guys just have a competitive spirit that is equal to their desire to make money.
Yeah,
right?
And Bud and Tim.
You seem like the type of guy, Penny, that if I gave you $1 million, you'd be on a beach somewhere. You'd never work again.
Of course, absolutely.
Me, I'd always find challenges for myself.
Keep working. If I give you $1 million, you keep working.
I'll tell you why I keep working. I've seen too many people stop working, and their bodies just deteriorate, their minds just deteriorate.
It's more the mind.
I've seen me. This is what I would do. I would work 4 days a week. I actually like my job, right? I would try to. Well, I kind of work 4 days a week anyway.
You're right. You're right about the mind. I don't know about the physical.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I would be afraid because people. There's an old saying when you retire, you know, you lose you lose the desire to kind of live. Your life is not the same anymore, right?
Yes, true.
I mean, when you have all that money, you put the money into investment. You invest in things, like for example, you could invest in a business even as a silent partner, and then be a part. You could be involved with it somehow. I don't know. You invest in a really awesome music studio, and as a silent partner, you just ask to hang around when the cool bands are in there or something. You do cool stuff with your money, and you stay active watching your investments. Like
Papa Chubby, like what Roy Jones did when he invested his money into music. Remember
that? you become a rapper.
Take shots at Roy Jones now, please. He's one of the all-time. This isn't a bashing section.
I mean, please. Did you guys watch the movie thing they did before the fights?
All Access.
I guess that's what it was. I didn't see the name of it or anything, but yeah, it was like a big long thing. They were kind of behind the scenes with each of the guys, and so yeah, and they showed Charlo. They own the beautiful gym. Oh my God, what a great space!
There is no incentive for this guy to want to go back down to 154, right? And defend those titles at this point. What? Like Crawford is not going to want to fight this guy. It's not a big money fight. I mean, it's a big money fight, but I think Crawford can make more money fighting other guys.
You think so?
Yeah.
Like guys that aren't named Canelo? Like
no. Maybe
I'll be honest with you, bro. I think Tim Tszyu can make a name for himself at 150. I think he could be the man, and I think he can make a name for himself, bro.
I agree.
The pay-per-view in Australia and New Zealand is quite lucrative. It's not. It's
you gotta understand something. And I'm just gonna say this, and you tell me if I'm wrong or right here. A lot of people saw that fight last night. A lot of people heard what he said to Jim Gray. He didn't knock me out. He knocked everyone else out.
Yeah, that was a bad.
How many people after seeing what they saw last night, right? And this guy's image was like, I'm lying. I'm a warrior, right?
Yeah.
How many people are going to want to pay to see this guy fight again? He was never a pay-per-view star before the Canelo fight. Does this enhance his marketability?
No.
Or does it hurt his marketability?
It hurt it. Because
it hurt it with his own fans. This morning I was on.
And if Crawford fights Tim Tszyu, because Crawford's the name, he could go 70-30. He can get a gigantic portion of the split.
He can.
Whereas
Tszyu will take that too, big.
And Tszyu will take it.
But guys, for
Charlo's going to want 50-50.
Yeah. But
so you ask me if there's a big the Tszyu fight could potentially be a bigger fight for Crawford than the Charlo fight, in my opinion.
In Australia, though, Beeb, let's be honest. In Australia, where then?
No.
In Omaha?
No, he could still. This is you got again. Please look at big picture. Penny, help me out here. Let me finish.
Okay,
School session. Get the notebook out and get the pen. They can still put this fight on in pay-per-view in Australia. And globally, this fight could be a much bigger fight than the Charlo fight globally. Am I wrong, Penny? How many pay-per-views does Tszyu do in Australia?
If the fight is in Australia, the pay-per-view is larger in Australia, right? Because if the fight is in America, people might not buy it as much because it's not in our region or in Australia. If the fight was in Australia,
you don't think Tim Tszyu fighting the best pound for pound fighter in the world is not going to garner attention in Australia?
But because Beebs,
Would you buy it? Would you buy it? Would you
yes,
buy
I
it?
would. But Beebs, that's because I'm a hardcore fan. Places like Australia and New Zealand, the boxing is not like it's a sport where they're actually trying to ban. You know what I mean? It's not that. But if they fought in Australia, it would gain a lot of. It would.
What's a bigger fight right now? What's a bigger fight right now? Crawford versus Tim Tszyu or Crawford versus Jermell Charlo coming off that performance, in your opinion?
Charlo.
Oh, it's line ball.
I disagree. I don't think you can sell Charlo on pay-per-view anymore after that.
Tzew's not well known in America yet.
Charlo was doing what? Less than 100,000 pay-per-view buys. When him and his brother did a pay-per-view together, they didn't even do 100,000 buys, bro.
Yeah, that's brutal.
How does Charlo's profile get elevated after last night?
No, he doesn't. But Beebs, it doesn't. But Beebs, don't you want to give Charlo the benefit of the doubt that he can redeem himself?
No, I don't. I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he can redeem himself.
You don't hear me though? But Beebs,
I can hear you, but you sound pixelated. Talk. Let me see. Let me hear you.
Hang on. I'll run back up.
Yeah, bounce out and come back in.
Yeah.
Bounce out and come back in. I'm gonna kick him out.
Yeah, and he'll come back in.
Put him back in.
Yeah, Beebs, I guess what I was really wondering is, do you think that Bud would fight in Australia? Do you think he would go and fight Tszyu in Australia if the money was right?
I don't know, man.
Crawford, I mean, did I say Crawford? Sorry. Yeah, like Bud, I'm wondering if he'll.
No, because Bud is the A side.
Yeah. So, but I mean, let's, like if they could put it in some big soccer stadium in Australia and then beam it out to the rest of the world, I mean, and the money was better for some reason, would Bud do it?
You take Charlo and Crawford right now. And they have a pot. And you take Charlo and Tszyu right now, and they have a pot. Charlo and Crawford, Charlo's not going to want to take less than 50-50 versus Crawford. Tszyu would take anything within reach. So the Tszyu fight could potentially be a bigger payday for Crawford.
Correct.
Than the Charlo fight.
Yeah.
And it's a fight that he could get up for. Right? It's just because it's a threat.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you this. Would you give Charlo a chance against Tim Tszyu right now at 154?
I'd give him a chance. Yeah.
I would not. Not. Again, he's got to come back down from 168 to 160. Right?
Yeah, that's a big problem. Or 154, you mean?
I'm a 154. I'm sorry. That's a problem.
Yeah, that is a problem.
He's been at that weight. He's 33 years old. He's been at that weight for 16 years.
But I do give him a chance, though. He has a chance.
Like when you say a chance, like
who do you think wins the fight?
Oh, I believe Tszyu can beat him. I thought that before Canelo.
Who would you pick to win the fight?
I got Tszyu.
Tszyu.
Yeah. I think Tszyu can do it for sure. But what I'm saying is, I guess, physically, you're right. Like it could be complicated for him. But I'm just thinking, when you say a chance, I'm thinking more about, will he bring the mindset and the determination to the ring, Charlo? And I think that he would. I do believe he would.
I agree. Listen. But the cat's out of the bag. Tim Tszyu he knows that now that it's fake.
Yeah.
Listen, once you lose that persona,
you
have an image of being a lion, the warrior. You're this big, aggressive, intimidating guy, right? His whole persona was destroyed yesterday.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
It's like Sonny Liston. When Sonny Liston lost his when he fought Ali, once Ali destroyed him, it kind of like ruined his swag.
Yeah. I mean, look, fans. I mean, look, I'm saying he could probably bring some grit and determination to a zoo fight, but that doesn't mean the fans are going to believe it or buy it. Like I do agree.
Yeah.
Like the image. I mean, boxing's all about image and hype and perception from the fans. And yeah, I mean, even his own fans, you can tell, are highly just are going to doubt him at this point. I do agree with you on that, Beeb. Like,
I just don't think he could ever get back that hunger that he had before.
Yeah.
After making the amount of money he made last night. He already cashed himself out.
Yeah.
It's the guarantee, 6 million, right? And if the pay-per-view reaches a certain number, he gets more. He'll probably get 10 million, I reckon.
Hey guys, I'm about to jump off, but I just want to say just quick, like, did you guys talk about Lubin Ramos?
I thought Ramos won the fight, but
He got robbed.
I had it 115. I had it 115 and 113.
Right.
Dude,
I mean,
Patricia Morse Jarman had it 117, 111 for what's his name? For Lubin. Damn.
Listen, all these Charlo fans in the chat, man. Just like I told you that about Wilder, that he couldn't beat Fury. You guys want to live in the world of hope and dreams, this romanticized world that you want to live in. I live in the reality world. The guy cashed himself out last night. The desire is not going to come back, bro.
Yeah.
He took a year off, right? He was already starting to lose his desire. The only reason why he came back is because they gave him a bag. The other brother's been off for 2 years. Again, these Charlo brothers have made enough money in their careers where they probably don't have the desire to want to fight anymore. They've been incentivized to not fight.
Listen,
again,
if there is a way to just put that across to the fans, there's a right way to do it. I mean, who's not going to respect that those guys have been successful in their careers? They did very well for themselves.
Especially
And
Jermell.
there's nothing wrong with it.
Jermell.
There's nothing wrong with
nobody,
it. But they're not selling it to the fans the right way, you know?
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having a successful career. But there is something wrong with telling everybody,
right,
I'm cashing
This
myself.
guy's ducking me.
Myself out. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, Sly.
I was going to say that when you've only done about 100,000 pay-per-views, of course you're going to move up 2 weight classes and take a fight against the #1 moneymaker in the sport. Like, I keep seeing people in here saying, "Oh, he wasn't ready. He wasn't daring to be. He wasn't ready to move up yet." It doesn't matter when you get the opportunity to get that kind of money, you're going to say, "Yeah." Like it just proves. These people talking about legacy and shit.
He wasn't daring to be great. He was daring to be obscenely rich.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
and so am I.
Absolutely.
So am I.
Yeah.
But guess what? Guess what I'm not doing? Guess what I'm not doing? I'm not telling you that. I'm keeping that on the DL.
Of course. You know,
hey, guys, sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna step out.
All right, man.
So thanks for having me on, Beebs. Have a good day, guys.
Yep.
How would Tim Tszyu do against Canelo? Better than Jermell.
Yeah, better.
Yeah,
better than Jermell.
Tszyu would go in there.
That's my answer to that one.
Tszyu would get knocked out, but at least he tried.
Ask yourself one reason and one reason only. Why did Jermell not fight Tim Tszyu and allow himself to get stripped by the WBO? That's what you got to. He kept dismissing Tim Tszyu, saying, "Why should I fight him?"
He could have fought him before the Canelo fight. He had the time, but he didn't.
He had the time, bro. Like, again, I don't know, man. He made
Tim
a career
Tszyu is
decision.
definitely underrated.
He made a career decision, right? He knew Tim Tszyu was a threat, and he did not think, probably in my opinion, and this is my opinion, I don't think he thought Tim Tszyu was worth the risk for the reward.
Hey, Beebs, Sly, you know where Jermell was
because he kept saying, "What does this guy do for me?"
Yeah.
You know what?
You know what that means? Why am I going to take a risky fight, where I could take an easier fight and make the same amount of money, or probably more? I get it.
Charlo would have made a lot more money with Canelo too than with even with Bud, and I think people, one of the things that was real kind of shocking, it's not that I had these really high expectations. I know a lot of people I know was like, oh, Charlo's way better. He's a slick boxer. He was biting on every Canelo tactic so in the Dimitri Bivol fight, Canelo knows this. Canelo was one of the things the reasons he kept getting countered so well is because his feet were too wide when he was trying to do his little stutter step when he was moving on the inside. And he's a real tactician because he knew to hit him while he was doing that because he can't set his feet because Canelo's got to set his feet to throw. He shortened his steps a lot as he was moving in, and he was able to, and he was teeing off on him. He was throwing that misdirection body shot where he'd throw wide body shot, and then in the next round he'd throw it, and it looks like a body shot, but it goes to the head. He was just teeing off on him, and I was not. I thought Charlo, he's supposed to be this. Everybody, oh, look how slick he was. Castaño chased him for 10 rounds, and he knocked him out. And man, I think Canelo knew that everybody's going to be studying that Bivol tape, and he fixed all those problems he had.
That's a good point. But Sly, what I was saying before, like Charlo came from this image where he would empty the tank because he's a lion.
Oh yeah, he laid down.
But Sly, had he fought that way and gotten knocked out by Canelo, I don't think he would have embarrassed himself because everyone understands, dude, you're moving up 2 weight classes. You'll probably get knocked out. But the fact that he didn't try that, it's like, dude, I bought this pay-per-view actually. No, I don't regret it because I do think the card was pretty good. There was a controversial decision on that Ramos fight. I don't mind, but dude, he didn't even try, and it's like.
Well, look. It's not that, and this is just my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I don't think it's not that he didn't try. Something happened to him in that fight that's never happened in any other fight in his whole career. He got buzzsawed. He got hurt bad, and he got hurt so bad that he took the knee. And in any other fight, he's been rocked a little bit here and there, but he didn't make the conscious decision and go, oh shit, I gotta sit down. Yeah. He's never done that before. And I think that once Canelo cracked him like that, it made him realize I gotta get on my horse.
But I think he was on that mindset even
no, he made the decision the day he signed the contract that he wasn't going to win that fight. Just by the way he was acting, his energy, he was acting
real off. Yeah, he was saying he wasn't his normal self, cussing people.
It makes sense now. I just thought that.
I'm going to be honest, and again, I would be intimidated by Canelo too, but he was intimidated.
Yeah,
he was intimidated.
I thought that Charlo was in a zone, where he's got a focus. Now it makes sense. He got intimidated, but at that time I didn't think of that. I thought it was focus. I want to beat this guy.
He was stuttering at the press conferences.
Yeah,
right.
I said, yeah. Oh my gosh, you're right. I said that shit because he was stuttering at the press conference.
He was stuttering at the press conference during the face-off. He went to turn his hat to the back, and I didn't notice this until someone told me. His hand was like this. I mean, he was. I'm just gonna say it, bro. I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna insult anyone because I'm not a hero, right? I'm not a hero, but he was intimidated. And the minute he signed that contract, just like Michael Spinks knew he was never going to beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
you could see it when he walked in the ring. Just like when Frank Bruno walked down that ring aisle before he walked into that ring against Mike Tyson. And he looked up at the sky, wide-eyed, and he was making the sign of the cross at least 25 times before he entered that ring. Looked like he was going to an execution. Guys know what they. Even Chael Sonnen said he was in an interview once, and they asked him straight up. He goes, "Did you ever take a fight knowing you couldn't win?" And he goes, "Yeah, several times."
But to be fair, I didn't think that before.
Chael Sonnen knew.
John Jones.
He knew John Jones could beat him. He knew he couldn't beat him.
Yeah.
But Beeps, to be fair, I didn't know that he was intimidated until maybe the 3rd round when I was seeing, man.
I knew he was. I knew he was from the minute I saw the first press conference, and I heard him stutter and the way he
I
was.
didn't see that.
But
I thought it
here's
was
what
laser focused.
but here's what I thought. I knew he was intimidated, but I thought once he got in the ring and he was under the lights and that bell rang, I thought the adrenaline would kick in and his fighter instincts would take over and compensate for the intimidation.
Yes.
H was saying, and a few other people were saying, when's the last time?
I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I'm going to let you go, Sly. And I know I always like to bring it back to myself.
No, you're all right. You're all right.
But I was like, I remember when I was 14 years old, and there was this guy that was like he was like 18, and he would bully me all the time. And I was afraid of this guy. But one time, he just hit me one time. And that one time, when the fight or flight kicked in, the fight kicked in, and I got him in a rear naked choke, man. Right? Because I was always bigger than the kid, but he was older than me. Because he was older than me, I was scared of him. So there are times when you're scared, and when the fight or flight kicks in, you do fight. But that just wasn't the case last night.
Yeah. I was going to say, when I was talking to H and a couple other people, they were saying they'd never seen him be so complimentary at a press conference. It's just not him. He's never been like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. You know, like he wasn't, you got to have especially going up against a guy like Canelo. He looked like a lamb going to the slaughter a little bit.
He was going out of his way to not make Canelo angry.
Yeah.
He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight an angry Canelo.
But Beebs,
in my opinion,
I thought that he at that time I thought he respected him. Like I didn't know that he was being intimidated. I just thought, okay, he respects him. Okay, fair enough.
Penny, I was trying to talk myself into believing what you were believing. I was trying hard, and I was hoping like you were hoping. I'm going to be honest, Penny. I think you were hoping that was the case. I don't think you were 100% sure that was the case.
Oh yeah, because I want to see a good fight, of course.
You were hoping it.
Oh yeah,
You like to will things into existence, little Penny. I don't knock your optimism, but I'm a pessimist. I got to deal with reality.
I don't buy a lot of pay-per-views. The last pay-per-view I bought was the Ryan Garcia Tank Davis fight, right? And before that, I think it was the Fury and Wilder rematch. I can't remember. I don't buy, but when I do, because I've got a mortgage now, so any pay-per-views I buy.
You bought the house. You went and bought the house.
Yeah, remember I told you about this.
I didn't think you were going to buy it.
No, I bought it because I don't want to. I don't want to.
What's the interest? What's the interest rate?
Mine about 5.5.
Well, that's not too bad.
What's the interest rate?
He said 5.5. That's not too bad.
Yeah, because my credit history is quite good. But anyway, any pay-per-views I buy, it's like, it has to be worth it. Like, but I don't regret it though, because the whole card was pretty good. Like, the Barrios fight was Ugas fight was really
the Barrios fight was great.
The Ugas fight, the Ramos. I'm going to be honest. The card was good. It was a good card.
Solid. I was pissed about the Lubin fight. I thought that, it's not that, like, I kind of went back and I was like, maybe I was missing something, and I don't think I was. Like, Lubin was getting hit, he was getting bullied, he was there, like he was in the pocket with him, but he wasn't really doing that much. And Ramos, he's a real nice kid, and thanks, guy. He was real complimentary and stuff, but it kind of reminded me of that last fight we just had with Colbert and El Rayo, where one dude was getting whipped the whole time and they just gave it to the other guy.
Sly, Ramos had the perfect opportunity for him to make a name for himself, because he's in front of the Mexican fans, he's in front of Canelo's fans, and he ruined it, dude. He ruined it.
He looked good. He took rounds off for sure.
Yeah, his trainer even said so. Like, I think it was on the 10th round. He said, "No, we've got this fight won. Don't worry about it." I was like, dude, don't do that. Marquez's trainer did that too. Nacho Beristain in the trilogy against Pacquiao, and he paid for it, right?
By the way, here's something funny to think about. If Crawford, I thought the rematch was predicated on them moving up a weight class, Crawford and Spence. If that's true, then Barrios becomes the champion at welterweight.
Oh, okay. He can move up to
He's the
154.
dude. I know, right? This guy went from losing to Tank to losing to Thurman, and it's more than 50-50. He's going to be the welterweight champion now.
Hey, Beeb, so do you think Barrios has improved since the Tank fight? Like, I really think he has. Like, or maybe he was just wet. No, I'm not going to say that because I don't want to make any excuses.
You
but
got to take into account that
improved a lot.
Ugas is definitely compromised, though, with his eye. And
yeah, that's true.
He really.
Barrios is a legitimate contender.
Yeah, he's a contender.
And he's a good fighter. And he's
decent.
And he fought like a good fighter.
Yeah, the jab.
Ugas fought like a guy who is on the other end of it.
Yeah.
And I felt it was disgusting. It was utterly disgraceful that the referee, the doctor, and more importantly, Ishmael Salas allowed Ugas to go out after that 9th round when he clearly could not see out of that right eye. And then the referee, not the referee, the doctor, here's how you know when it's bullshit. When they were going out of their way to not stop that fight, right? He puts the light in his eye and then pulls it away. How about covering the left eye, taking your finger and telling him to follow it? That's the greatest indicator to determine whether or not he could see out of that right eye or not. Because
it was target practice after that.
Couldn't see out of the fucking right eye.
Yeah.
So
he was
for them,
whapping him.
And then you had Ismail Salas in the corner. Oh, you're a warrior.
Oh,
who gives a fuck? Because
you're supposed to protect the fighters from themselves, man.
Thank you. And then I hear all these PED pussies out here. Oh, it's for the safety of the sport. But you want these guys to go out on their shield and fucking go blind for you, right? Yeah. All this fucking pearl clutching, virtue signaling bullshit. No one cares about the fighters except for me.
If you wouldn't have stopped it when he fought Spence, if they would not have stopped that fight, he'd probably be blind. And last night, after round 9, everybody was like, look at Barrios. He's teeing off on him. I'm like, it's because he can't fucking see.
Can't see.
He's blind in one eye. Jesus, man. He's got heart and everything, but
fucking disgrace.
That's just your ego, man. Like, I'd rather have my eye than my ego.
Now, here's the thing, too. That eye is probably going to be compromised the rest of his life, just like Margarito's eye. Margarito's eye was never the same. First it was Cotto, then the Cotto rematch, and then like the Pacquiao fight, then the Cotto rematch. The guy has an artificial lens on his eye because he has fucking cataracts in there and shit. The eye's never going to be the same now. He should probably retire now, Ugas.
Yeah,
he should.
He's already advanced in age too. He's not like he's not some young.
38 years old. He got to retire, bro.
Yeah.
Man, he took a beating against Spence. He really also took a beating against Manny. If you look at, even though Manny lost that fight, if you see Ugas's face, it's pretty much like a pizza.
Well, he had a better, in my opinion, plan with Manny. Manny wasn't tall enough Manny was short enough to where he could keep him on the end of his punches and stay in that range. With people like Spence, though, who just love getting in your face and getting inside on you, I don't know. I feel bad. Spence too. He said in the build up to Crawford and that I forget what they're called on Showtime on
All
YouTube.
Access.
Yeah, All Access. Yeah, he said the reason that they wanted to fight him first, the Cuban, was because after he won the Pacquiao fight, they noticed that he was going to nightclubs and drinking. He said they noticed he was spending a ton of money and he wasn't taking training super serious. And to be honest with you, I think they were right.
That just speaks to my point about Charlo. Charlo already was coming off of a long layoff. Now he just got a monster payday. What incentive is there for this guy to want to get back in the gym again?
Dude, and everybody said I was full of shit. when he was at the weigh-ins, like he did not look. I know he was moving up in weight a little bit, but he kind of looked more smoothed over than defined. He didn't look like that cut up, like kilt. Not that you have to look that way, but he didn't look right. He looked kind of flat, didn't he? I thought he
Yeah,
looked
did.
flat. I
No,
didn't think he looked like Aldo when he came in to fight McGregor. Like normally he's jacked and he's cut up like he's ready to go. And in the McGregor fight, Aldo looked smoothed over. Like he didn't even look defined at all.
Do you reckon Boots will knock out Barrios if they fought at 147?
Oh
Yes.
man, yeah, definitely, dude. He's way more. Look,
Yes.
Boots. It's not just power with Boots. He's dynamic, man. He's.
Boots
I
hasn't
still
been
think
tested
Bud
yet,
beats
by the
him,
way.
but I'm telling you, man, Boots is very, very good. The
I
only way he would beat him, I think, is if Boots has shown problems with guys that can move and have great footwork, but that's about it.
Boots is lucky he's 26 because he could still make the weight, but he's probably
Yeah.
close to get. He needs to go to 154.
Yeah, I agree.
He's boiling down to 147. He's a big guy too. You could just see it on fight night. I'd love to see.
He wants the IBF first before he goes up, but
I'd like to see Boots. I'd love to see Boots fight Keith Thurman, but Keith Thurman ain't gonna fight him, bro.
Yeah, Keith Thurman.
Tell you what, wait till you hear about all the matchups now. If if Crawford and Spence move up and he vacates, I guarantee you they're gonna pull the Showtime shuffle and Danny Garcia versus Barrios.
Showtime ain't leaving. Showtime ain't leaving boxing either, bro. I'm telling you that.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was bullshit. These people are out of their mind.
Now here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen, in my opinion. A lot of the boxing, some of the boxing programming, it's already done. It's already been done. It's already migrated onto the Paramount Plus app because Showtime has gotten rid of their app, and they merged it with the Paramount Plus app. So a lot of these shows a lot of these events are going to be on the app. They have a big sports section on that Paramount Plus app. They show a lot of soccer leagues. They show NFL, college. They have a big sports app, and they'll find a home just like ESPN Plus for the boxing.
Let's hope so, because HBO didn't do that once they got bought out by Disney, right?
They don't have a sport. Like Disney doesn't have a sports app.
Yeah.
Paramount.
They don't have an audience for that kind of shit.
CBS merged with Paramount Plus, CBS Viacom, and CBS already was showing a lot of sports, right? A lot of sports, right?
Sorry, Bibbs, you go.
No, I'm just saying they have a market for sports.
So what was that tweet? What was that tweet that everyone was talking about? That this is the last year of Showtime, or whose tweet was that?
Idiots. Rick Glacier, man.
Oh, right. Okay, Rick Glacier.
Keep listening to that guy.
Yeah, he's hadn't had the best predictions lately.
They had a really good team, and this pay-per-view card, they had like 8 people working. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, like when they had there's like eight of them.
And you know what that means, Little Penny?
They're investing in it.
They're restructuring a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Paramount Plus probably brought some of those guys. Again, Paramount. Oh, look at all the layoffs. Look at you know why companies lay employees off? When they restructure and they get rid of departments, they no longer need those employees. A lot of these streaming platforms, these networks are focusing more on the streaming and less on the terrestrial television. Yeah. So when you eliminate a department because you don't need it anymore, unfortunately, you have to get rid of those people.
Yeah, it's economies of scale, right? Like you don't need 2 CEOs, you only need one. But with the ESPN layoff, they got to do with ratings, because like
lean manufacturing.
Like for example, like for me, I used to have ESPN, But because YouTube now has like for example, I don't even watch NFL or NBA fully. Because I don't want to sit there for 3 hours. I just wait for the game, and then someone will package it for the 10-minute highlights, and then I'll just watch it on YouTube. That way I'll get there's no commercials. I don't have to wait for the timeouts. Like, you know what I mean? For me, I'm guessing a lot of people around the world are doing the same thing, right?
ESPN just upped their prices again too, by the way.
Case in point. Tell me if you've seen this. A lot of fights that were normally on ESPN, the network, migrated over to ESPN Plus.
Yeah,
they've showed a lot of fights this year on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's a premium like service that they're offering, right?
This is what's going to happen with Showtime. A lot of these fights with the Showbox type level fights are going to be on Paramount Plus, just like the ESPN Plus.
Look, dude, when you put a boxing fight on of this magnitude or a world championship fight, it does a lot to the Las Vegas economy, right? Like the hotels are full, like the car hires are full, the airlines are like, you know, this because a lot of people are coming in, like, you know, so it's not something that, you know, it's that they can just easily get rid of, especially for Las Vegas, man. Boxing is like a sin sport, dude. It will never die. The people will always be like, for example, when Max Kellerman gave that example, like if there's two sports, there's you see like people playing one-on-one basketball, or there's a fight between two guys. Who are you gonna go to? Of course, people are gonna flock to the fights, man, because it's more interesting. You know what I mean? So people have been talking about boxing's been dead even during the 60s. I remember you could see the interview with the Sonny Liston Muhammad Ali fight. If you watch some of those black and white videos back then, they were even saying that boxing is now dead. Blah blah blah. It will never die, dude. It's just that we just got to adjust to the ways of doing
the market. You're a businessman. The market always corrects itself.
Correct.
Yeah.
It always corrects.
They're just adjusting because the majority of the money they get now is from advertisers as opposed to investors. A lot of people. The thing that's happening with like, you know, they laid off Kellerman and a couple other people. I thought that had a little bit more to do with Stephen A. Smith, but it's in my opinion.
Stephen A. Smith is preparing himself also because he'll be next.
Well, I was going to say I think Kellerman's a way better announcer than Stephen A. Smith, especially for boxing.
It's like Stephen A. Smith is putting more content out now on YouTube than on his.
Oh no, absolutely. Day. Well, he's doing what he's doing exactly what they're doing. He's diversifying because he needs to, in case something does happen. Yet he needs to have more than one income, and
he doesn't need the money though. Sly, he is quite
well, but that's the problem with rich people is that they don't ever think they have enough. They're always going to find a way to want more, or find a reason to do more.
I do think ESPN, there is a place for ESPN, right? But they no longer have that monopoly because a lot of the content of us, like Biebs, for example, I like instead of like watching Barack, you know, Barack from Showtime, I don't watch him. I just go with Biebs and like D-Style because their content is better. Like they might not have access to like the actual like footage, but Barack and that's freaking boring, man. Like have you ever seen Barack and those guys? The other guy,
Akin Barack.
Yeah,
they're not very good.
No disrespect, but Adi Adedipo, I'm not like he's a nice guy and all, but he's just I don't know, man. I'm just.
What does Eddie Hearn want me to say today?
Yeah, like, and you know what? You hear these people say, "Well, I'm an insider. I'm an insider. I'm an insider." Being an insider is not a good thing. You know why? Because you had to do something to get in the inside.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Once you do something. Once you get it, it's like being in it's like being in the establishment in politics.
Yeah.
You have to do someone a favor,
yeah.
And once you do someone a favor, you know you're beholden to that person forever.
They
right?
own you.
I've had people come on like panels with me, and say, oh, well, I know this person. I can't say this. I can't say that. You know, I get it, but I don't want to be an insider. You know, I've talked to people, you know, I know certain people, but I don't want to get too close. I don't.
I always say, what's your end goal? Like, what's the end goal here?
Yeah.
Like, why?
This is the reason why I don't watch First Take anymore, because Stephen A. Smith.
I can't stand Stephen A. Smith. Like
I used to watch First Take, like even before Max Kellerman was there, even when Skip was there, because they didn't have any conflict of interest. Now, like for example, Stephen A. Smith spends like 10 minutes trying to explain how good of a person Kevin Durant is, and then after 10 minutes, then he goes on to his point. See, dude, I don't want to hear. I'm not interested in Kevin Durant's donations. I'm interested in his points, rebounds, and assists. That's his job.
Stephen A. Smith is such a narcissist because he always has to tell everyone, I just got off the phone with this guy. Oh, I just text that guy. Oh, I would just text Michael Jordan. Like he's such a clout fucking chaser, bro. It's such a name dropper. Like that's the epitome of a narcissist, bro. Like everything he says, it's like, oh, I've known this guy for 30 years. And it's like, dude, who gives a fuck about you, bro? Talk about the fucking topic.
That's why I loved Kellerman so much, because he never put up with that shit. He would be like, especially not just with the Kaepernick stuff, but boxing. Like when ESPN acquired the UFC, I'd never seen, like, you know, people always say the national pastime in America is baseball, but the real national pastime is people talking about shit they don't know anything about. And Stephen A. Smith, when they bought the UFC, you would have thought that he just read like a MMA starter kit or some shit. like clearly he didn't know what he was saying.
To be honest, he does know a little bit about boxing. Like he even knows.
No, he does. I'm not saying that, but I'm just making the point that he's gonna do what the money says. And the reason I preferred Kellerman is because you could actually tell that Kellerman, he would be like, well, I don't know if I want to comment on that because I'm not very, I'm not very astute at it. Like Steven's the kind of person that's always got to say, well, I think this, even though I don't know shit about it.
Yeah, I do. To be fair, sometimes when boxing topics do come out and Max is there, Stephen A. Smith did say a lot that I defer to you, Max. Like, to be fair, he did say that a lot. So he knows his place in boxing. But in terms of when Max Kellerman got fired, and also you can see the ratings on First Take, they're not very good. They're not very good now. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to mean to be racist, but there's too many black people in First Take. Like, they got to make it a little bit more diverse. There's just too many. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I want to see like Pablo Torre in there too, so I can relate a little bit.
I ain't touching that, but
when Kendrick Perkins talks out, sometimes
the views of Little Penny are not the views of this channel.
Yeah, I was gonna say you better put a disclaimer.
No. A lot of people do think this, Sly. It's like
no. Wait, this is the problem, though, Penny. A lot of people might think that, but the problem in America is that compared to other countries, we don't have the best like race relations with people. So when you say that, it automatically puts out that and I'm not saying that, but that's what people think. I'm not saying it's true. Yeah. It's just the way people are nowadays.
I just admit, I remember in the 1990s, right? There was a lot of white reporters or white, and basketball was 95% black, right? And I was thinking, why isn't there too many like black coaches or? But now there is, right? And I think the balance has just swayed so much to the other side. Dude, you gotta like balance it out a little bit, like because.
Well, but precisely what I just said. It sounds bad. There's not great, and to a degree, I don't disagree with some of that. But the problem is that there's a kind of thing now where if you're like, there's more of a PC thing now, and the way that they can shut down argument is going, well, why isn't there any debt? They'll go, well, that's because there isn't enough. There's never been enough black people on TV. So I don't know. I don't watch them shows personally, but
No, because like, I used to watch East Bay. I've been watching it since the early 90s, right?
yeah,
It's changed so much now. It's like I don't even like. I only look. Maybe it's got
well,
something
you know
to
what
do-
though? The one thing I will give ESPN and a few other places is that they're trying to come from a position, and from a business standpoint, it makes sense too. They're trying to come from a position where they want the announcers and the people calling the sport, they want them to have experience in the sport, especially
I
with the
agree with that.
UFC, boxing. They want to have like, oh, this guy's a former champion, so obviously he's going to be able to articulate what they're doing better than a guy who's just a
I agree.
quote unquote professional announcer. Plus, you don't have to pay them half the money that you pay professional announcers that probably have a union or something. So
I don't think the majority of the people that listen to Stephen A. Smith talk about the Max Kellerman situation are going to be on his side with it all, the way he handled it. It was kind of, my opinion, I believe it was very classless the way he talked about that whole thing.
He also got Skip taken
Weaselly.
out. It was because Skip was the person that got Stephen A. Smith to first take, and then Stephen A. Smith kind of like took over. Like, dude, you can't. What's that saying? You don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, but I think Skip got a lot. I think Skip got a lot of money to leave. He got paid a lot more money to go to Fox. I think it was.
They put so much money into him because his show was going to be the starter of Fox Sports. He was the face. That's why That's why he took it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I gotta hop. Oh shit! I gotta hop off here. It's good talking to you guys, man. Have a good one, Joe, Penny, everybody. I'll see you on a little bit.
Man, I'll catch you up, man. Be good.
Bye.
Yeah, let's go back to boxing, dudes. We might get. Sorry, I didn't mean for you to get demonetized.
So I'm going to give you an open invitation right now. Me being the leader of the Furimaniacs, would you like to join our group now? Now that we've finally got this fight over the line,
Beeps, I don't believe anything that Fury says. He could pull out of this fight anytime.
Do you believe Turkey Al Sheikh?
Yes, I do.
He tweeted it out.
Okay.
He confirmed it.
Because sometimes Fury, he doesn't even know what he wants, dude. Like, but I do like this fight because we get to see who's the best heavyweight in the world. Hey, Hapler. Usyk, he is a good fighter. Like he can win, but I don't think he will.
Usyk tweeted it out. Fury tweeted it out. Turkey Al Sheikh tweeted it out. Usyk's promoter Alex Krachik tweeted it out. Bob Arum tweeted it out. Everybody tweeted it out.
Okay.
Is everyone lying?
Babe.
Go ahead, Hap.
How do you feel if you're in Gano and they're making this fight when you already have a fight scheduled?
I'll tell you what I
they know you're gonna lose.
I pretend I care, but I cry myself to sleep looking at that $10 million check.
Nah, he's gonna get paid for sure. But they're obviously not very concerned about.
I'm gonna tell you something else. The more training footage they put out, I think the worse it was for the event because it made me even less interested in it than I already was because it looked so bad, in my opinion, with all due respect to him. But it was genius to announce this Usyk fight because it kind of gives both events a boost, in my opinion.
By the way, I don't know if you've heard this, but on IFL, Eddie Hearn, now he's not connected to this fight, but he said that he thinks that Fury Usyk has a rematch clause regardless of the outcome, so that we might see two fights with.
Well,
Fury
what I heard, Penny, was when Frank Warren was asked about the rematch clause, he wasn't giving out any details on it.
Okay. Well, I don't trust Eddie Hearn anyway because he's not even connected to this fight.
No, it's not Eddie Hearn. I said Frank Warren.
Fight Doctor. Are you ever going to buy a Jermell Charlo pay-per-view ever again?
So I'm done with both Charlo and Alvarez.
Even Canelo?
Yeah, because
never-
look,
he
I want
never liked
to
Canelo.
I want
Go
to
ahead.
congratulate. I
My
want to
doctor's
congratulate.
not a Canelo fan, Penny.
Oh,
I want to congratulate Canelo Alvarez for his victory last night and having reclaimed the junior middleweight championship of the world.
I mean,
Congratulations,
fight, Doc,
he's the
as
best.
much as you hate Canelo, you got to admit he swept that fight. That was
He
a
did.
complete
He did.
shutout.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what are the facts here?
I
So what
love
did we
it.
actually see last night, right?
I love
We saw Canelo Alvarez go 12 rounds with the junior middleweight champion of the world.
Abusing.
That's what we saw last night. So Canelo
It was
Alvarez
12 rounds of abuse.
Okay, I agree. He washed him, no question. But he washed the best junior middleweight in the world. That's what we saw. We saw Canelo Alvarez prove that he is the
I don't
best
know why anyone thought
54
that
54
wasn't going
pounder
to
on
happen.
earth.
I mean, it was obvious. Like it was a shutout, bro. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was Jermell Charlo did not raise his profile off that performance last night.
Why was he bending over and letting Canelo lean on his neck? The shorter guy is like pressing down on your neck all night because you keep leaning your head down like that. That was fucking terrible tactics.
Yeah. My question is, why did he not put forth some effort to actually win the fight?
He didn't. He was too scared. He was half the time when he was punching, he was like running away too quick at the same time, and the punches weren't effective at all.
By him saying he didn't knock me out, he knocked everyone else out. Was that basically him telling on himself that, hey, this was basically a cash out for me?
No, he's telling on himself that he came to fucking stay the 12 rounds and lose.
Essentially, that basically taking the check, in other words.
Yep.
Yeah. Does anyone? What is the panel's opinion on a potential Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez fight right now?
it's a good fight. I like that fight.
I don't like
Benavidez
that.
beats the brakes off of Alvarez at this point.
I don't
No,
like that
think
fight.
so. I think Canelo will beat him. Benavidez is too flat-footed.
I got Benavidez too.
I got Canelo.
They're both
Yeah,
flat.
so-
They're both flat-footed, Penny. What difference does it make?
Yeah, but Canelo is tested. Benavidez isn't. You'll see how good Benavidez is versus Andrade, because Andrade will test him. Even though Andrade,
What if he beats Andrade the same way he beat Caleb Plant? Would you be impressed?
I'll be impressed.
I
And I'll
wasn't
change my
impressed
mind.
with the Caleb Plant victory. That was he didn't knock him out. That was weak.
All right.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought he beat him up pretty bad, but okay.
No, I mean he won for sure, but he didn't close the show, brother.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He didn't knock him out. And
Then again,
and-
Canelo didn't close the show here either. Like, I thought the way Charlo was running around and not fighting back, I thought Canelo should have knocked him out. Like the way he knocked out
I
Plant.
picked Canelo. I picked Canelo KO7, and he almost got it. But he, when he got up and like he knew he had the fight won on points. By then, he was just cruising, man. He was like, why overexert myself?
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, I don't think that Alvarez came close to stopping Charlo last night, to be completely honest.
When he went down in the seventh?
He caught Charlo with a really good straight right hand, and then he followed it up with an uppercut, and Charlo took a knee. Charlo voluntarily took a knee to clear his head. And then he got up and he boxed for the rest of the round. And for the rest of the fight, at no point did I see Charlo being in danger of being stopped. At no point. Now, you can make the argument that perhaps maybe Alvarez could have ended the fight in the seventh round. I don't buy that argument. And
if he had pressed on the gas a little bit more, he didn't have to. That's the thing. He won every round, so he got the knockdown. If he really wanted to press, he could have, but he was conserving energy because he didn't want to gas. And,
But in a fight, Doctor, Charlo was fighting like as if he was in danger
Scared.
all the
He
time.
was scared.
Yeah.
So Charlo was showing Alvarez a lot of movement, which the smaller guy typically is going to be boxing and moving away from the bigger, stronger guy, which is what we saw last night. All right, but that was his game plan. His game plan was to outbox Canelo Alvarez and show him some movement.
But he didn't throw any punches.
Well,
And that's the reason why he lost the fight.
Plan.
He didn't let his hands go
at all.
I
That
just
wasn't
thought that.
outboxing, dude. That was like trying to survive. It's more like it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree. For a guy who is undisputed and who's knocking guys out at 154, left, right, and center, right? I thought he would replicate that a little bit. No, I don't want him. No, I didn't expect him to go toe to toe with Canelo because Canelo is a bona fide 168 pounder. But for him not to do anything, it's like,
okay, Lil Penny, I want you to just replay what you said in your mind. For a guy who's knocking out everyone at 154 pounds, you expected him to show a different look at 168 pounds.
It doesn't matter 154 or 168. What matters is the guy didn't fucking try to go to that next level. He wanted to survive. If he wanted to like really do something, he could have gone balls to the walls and really tried to fucking hurt Canelo, but he was too much of a pussy.
But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get you guys to see the bigger picture here, which is we're talking about Canelo Alvarez having fought last night on pay-per-view with a 154-pound guy. And we're actually entertaining this conversation as if this fight was serious. It wasn't. It was a goddamn circus.
No, it was serious. I actually bought the fight.
Okay, let's
hang on a second.
Play honest here.
I got one question for you. What division did Canelo win his first title in?
154 pounds. If I'm not mistaken, he won his first
title.
But
Doctor, to answer your question, I did think that it was serious because I bought the pay-per-view not because of Canelo, it's because I wanted to see if Jermell Charlo can make history because I did believe in him. I bought the pay-per-view. I don't buy pay-per-views. I don't buy
pay-per-views.
pay-per-views.
For the okie doke.
Sorry,
okay, guys, but at the end of the day, what did we see last night?
Not much from Jermell.
A one-sided whitewash.
Yeah.
Exactly. And weight classes exist for a reason.
That's true.
And what we saw last night is
they
the
both
reason
come
why
from the same weight class though, Fight Doctor.
Yeah, okay, I get that, right? But at the end of but listen, how long has Alvarez been fighting at 168?
A lot. 2-3 years, I think.
And before that, he was at 160.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Alvarez has climbed the weight ladder the correct way.
Right. And the other guy had to stay at 154 because his bitch ass brother was sitting on a belt at 160.
Okay, but
it's Jermell's fault that Jermell had to starve himself for all those years to stay at 154.
Yeah, but that's all beside the point. I'm just talking about what are the what's apparent here. And what's painfully apparent is that what you saw last night was a 68-pounder versus a 54-pounder. And this is why weight classes exist. Now, had Charlo had time to move up the weight ladder in the same fashion that Alvarez did, we probably would have saw a different fight last night.
Let me ask you this, Fight Doc. You know I respect you. You're my buddy. But
how do
you think that would have gone if that was Crawford in there last night?
It would have been a
Crawford
different
would
fight.
have tried harder. Crawford would have gone for it. He would have at least.
Crawford isn't coming in there to fucking lay down.
I gotta interrupt. I have to. I'm gonna end this stream. I'll let you guys finish up. I forgot that I'm doing the other show with Eric at 11. We changed the time today. I actually forgot. I'm sorry.
No worries.
That's no problem.
All right.
I enjoyed being on here with my brother.
All right, guys.
Fight Talk, Little Penny, and Beeb. Saludos to you guys.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Peace.
All right.